December 7th, 2025. That's about 49 days and 1,176 hours. And on January 24th, we finally got an update. And this is no regular update that, like, class 1 roads that have already been released over the past few months. No, this is the Fallen Flags. So what they have added is a couple of Southern Pacific units that includes the C44-9Ws, regular units of the GP60s, and included the Cotton Belt units. And they also include the Chicago and Northwestern AC44. Come on, local. You really had to block my shot? Alright, anyways, back to what I was saying. The Chicago and Northwestern AC4400CW, and a couple of new Conrail units that includes the SD70 Mac, a new 4-axle B36-7s, and a couple of Union Pacific locomotives, including the tunnel motors. And there's a lot more we'll be seeing in today's video. Now, you may be wondering why did they take this update so long? Like, why did they took them 49 days for it to update? Well, it's because they're just slowing down with the new updates that they're dropping. Basically, they stated in their, I believe, in their Discord server. So just so they confirmed that they're also working on another game that they have shown us a lot of pictures of what it will look like in the future. I don't know. It's either because of that or they just have a life in general. So I also want to point out that since that update dropped on January 24 with the Fallen Flags units, their player count increased rapidly to the point of reaching 400 players. That's crazy, right? But enough with the yapping, let's go ahead and get this video started. The first unit we're going to be talking about is the CNW AC44CW. The Chicago and Northwestern ordered 35 AC4400CWs from General Electric in 1994 from numbers 8801 to 8835. They are painted in the Operation Lifesaver to promote safety on railroad crossings, as there were over 4,000 collisions involving trains at that time. When Union Pacific took over the CNW, the AC44s continued their original 8800 series numbers until the mid-2000s. These were numbered from 6703 to 6737 with UP patches. Today, only one CNW AC44 remains in its original paint scheme, which is UP6706. Its sister, UP6707, formerly CNW 8805, was involved in a wreck back in 2013 in Hays, Kansas, which unfortunately was sent away for scrapped. These CNW AC44s were equipped with K5H horns. Next are the Conrail units. First is the SD70 Mac. Conrail ordered 15 SD70 Macs from EMD in 1998 from numbers 4130 to 4144. All 15 of the SD70 Macs are painted in the Conrail quality paint scheme. All of the Conrail SD70 Macs continued their service with Conrail until the split of 1999. All 15 were sold to CSX numbered from 775 to 789. Either continue with their original Conrail paint scheme or repainted to Y2 or Y3. That's until the late 2000s that they were renumbered again after CSX ordered the ES44AHs. They were renumbered from 4575 to 4589. CSX 4589, formerly Conrail 4144, was given the Spirit of Nashville in Y2 until it was repainted again to Y3, still keeping its spirit. That's until it was rebuilt to be an SD70 AC, of what CSX calls their rebuilt SD70 Max. Today, all of the former Conrail SD70 Max are rebuilt and continue their service with CSX. The second unit is the C40-8. Conrail ordered 25 C40-8s from General Electric in 1989 from numbers 6025 to 6049. All 25 started off with the late Conrail paint scheme, while some would later be repainted to the Conrail quality scheme. The C40-8s continued their service with Conrail until they were sold off to Norfolk Southern and CSX after the split. 14 of them went to Norfolk Southern, while 11 went to CSX. For NS, the former Conrail units were renumbered in the 8300 series, while for CSX were renumbered in the 7400 series. All of the units will later be repainted in the 2000s to the 2010s. Today, all the 25 ex-Conrail C40-8s are no longer in service, as these were sold out to LTEX to be scrapped, or either just sold out to shoreline railroads. Who knows? All the Conrail C40-8s had RS3Ls equipped. The third unit we're going to be talking about is actually a new model. This is the Conrail B36-7. Conrail purchased 60 B36-7s from General Electric in 1983 and were numbered from 5000 to 5059. All 60 of the B36-7s were painted in the late Conrail paint scheme. Some will later be repainted to the Conrail quality scheme in the 90s. All these units continued their services until these units were sold off to NS and CSX, but they didn't last long with these two railroads, as these were sold off to leasing companies or sent away to be scrapped. All of the 60 B36-7s are no longer in CSX nor NS's, as these are likely working with shoreline railroads. Now let's go with the Southern Pacific units. First is the Southern Pacific C44-9W. Southern Pacific ordered 101 C44-9Ws from General Electric in 1994. These units were numbered from 8100 to 8200. All these C44-9Ws are painted in the Southern Pacific Speed Scheme. They continued their services with Southern Pacific Railroad until UP took over in 1996. These units were renumbered, patched up, and painted to the UP Small Shield Scheme years after the merger. They were numbered from 9564 to 9664. Later in the 2010s, UP started retiring and storing the Dash 9s. Then later in 2023, after Union Pacific made a deal with Wabtec to rebuild their old power, including the AC44s and their Dash 9s, UP restored their Dash 9s and rebuilt them in Fort Worth. As of 2025, 36 out of the 100 SP Dash 9s have been rebuilt. Second is the Southern Pacific and Cotton Belt GP60s. Keep in mind, Southern Pacific owned Cotton Belt, so you can see why these two have the same paint scheme. Southern Pacific ordered 100 GP60s from EMD from 1988 and 1984. They were numbered from 9600 to 9619 and 9715 to 9794. Units 9600 to 9619 are painted in the Scarlet font scheme, while 9715 to 9794 were painted in the Speedy scheme. Cotton Belt ordered 95 of the GP60s from EMD as well, numbered from 9620 to 9714. They were painted in the same scheme with the Cotton Belt lettering and the SSW on the nose. These 195 GP60s continued their service with Southern Pacific until they were taken over by Union Pacific in 1996. They still kept their original numbers in the 90s to the 2000s. Sometime in the 2000s, they were patched up and renumbered in the 1000, 1100, 1900, and the 2000 series. Some units before these series that I just mentioned were numbered in the 5700 series. Those didn't last long after UP started ordering the C44AC in 2004. Today, 10 out of the 195 former SP and SSW GP60s remain to keep their original colors. Now to the Union Pacific locomotives. First is the Union Pacific SD40T-2. Union Pacific never ordered any of these units, but actually got these SD40T-2s from Southern Pacific after the merger in 1996. Some of these were lucky to continue their service with Union Pacific, while some weren't, as some of them were sold off to leasing companies such as LTEX, NREX, etc. Some of these units were painted in the 4300 to 4400 series. Once GP started ordering the SD70Ms, they were renumbered in the 8600 to the 8800 series. Some of the SD40s didn't last long with Union Pacific, as these were sold out to certain leasing companies. With the new UP SD70 Aces they ordered, these were renumbered once again, this time in the 2700 to the 2900 series. Today, all the SD40T-2s are no longer on UP's roster. Some are lucky enough to continue their service with Shoreline Railroads, either keeping their original SP colors or with the UP paint scheme. Next is UP 1943. This unit started off as a regular UP SD70AH. It was built back in 2016, giving the number of 9026. Nothing too interesting, serving as a normal SD70AH until in 2017 it was painted in the Veterans Unit under the United States Armed Forces. The cab is painted the Air Force silver, including the spirit of Union Pacific. The red, white, and blue behind the cab resembles the Coast Guard racing, and next to that is the dark gray resembling the Navy battleship gray, and of course the American flag in front of the dark gray scheme. And on the radiator wing is painted in the military style with the support our troops. Finally, behind the radiator is the POW MIA, quote, "You are not forgotten. Remember the people who have served this country." This unit is still roaming around, used for events including for Toys for Tots at every Christmas season and freight services. Next are these Operation Lifesaver units. The Wheelie Lake Erie 7026 with the crossing down and the Operation Lifesaver above the gate, and below the gate is the Look, Listen, and Live. This unit started off as the Milwaukee Road SD40 until it was sold to Southline, then to EMDX, and now the Wheeling Lake Erie in the mid 2000s, originally as 6314 when first purchased. Then later in 2024, it was renumbered to 7026, given the Operation Lifesaver scheme. Behind 7026 is 7001. This unit originally started off as a UPSD40 until it was sold off to the Wheeling Lake Erie in 2011, given it the primer paint scheme until it was painted in the same year. and was numbered 6357. Then it was renumbered again to 7001 in 2017 as a normal Whaley and Lake Erie SG40. Then in 2022, it was given the Operation Lifesaver 50th anniversary sticker to celebrate Operation Lifesaver's 50th anniversary. The Whaley Lake Erie 7026 still remains that sticker to this day. Remember the 60-foot boxcars that were in the game and so they were removed with the 50-foot boxcars? Well, they're officially back with a ton of details. We'll go over what variants they were added as the EMD unit pulls these boxcars out of the industry. First is the Norfolk Southern, NOKO, AOK, the LRS or GATX Blue Boxcar, whatever you want to call them. You may think, oh, that's it? Nope. There's a few more as we're going to be coupling up to these boxcars that we're going to put this into the industry. We also got the BNS7 H1 logo, TTX, Union Pacific, and finally the Canadian National. Something that impresses me is the amount of details they have added on these boxcars. Maybe this could be the beginning of detailed rolling stocks. Who knows? Alrighty, we're officially done with today's video. It was a long way for these units to come, but it's worth the wait. Honestly thought the SP and the Chicago Northwesterns were not going to be added at all because I see this game as like a class 1 mainly when I first played this game. Until they released the Conrail locomotives about a year ago, I say? Maybe a year ago. So did this give me some hope that these units will come? Yeah, I'd say so. But anyways, if you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel as I'm going to be trying to be posting a few more videos to the channel. So yeah, that's all I have for you. So I'll catch you guys in another video. And as always, take care.